There is no better time of year, especially if you're a fan of amateur baseball, college baseball, Major League Baseball, than right now. Hi there, folks. My name is Darren Sutton. This is Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rawlings. We're devoted to the amateur game and the journey to dreams coming true, the journey to the major leagues. Curiel will join us on this show. Who is he? The number one player in the country in the 2024 class. Recently had a great conversation with him in Southern California. James Wood also making the move to Southern California as a Padres draft pick. The Perfect Game All-American was a second rounder last year, but then blew up as a pro. Numbers far outlasting what he did at IMG Academy. A wonderful story of James Wood. He will reconnect with us now. We'll also reconnect with a lot of PG alums. As a matter of fact, about a half dozen that are making their major league debuts right now. As spring training wraps, games open up, dreams are coming true for a handful of PG players and PG All-Americans as they jump to the major leagues. But we're going to get going where we always get going on this show. Let's crank it up. Whether you gas up, whether you plug in, it's time for a road trip. And this is the Scouts' time of year. Perfect Game's National Director of Scouting, Jered Goodwin, is joining us, taking all around the country, region to region. Jered, thanks for spending time taking us road tripping with you.
Thanks, I'd always like being here.
You start east. The first name is Tucker Toman. You've got another behind him, but tell us why Tucker popped up.
Yeah, Tucker had kind of an uneasy summer, and then this spring has put it all together. Stuff we've seen from him in the past, so no surprise here. Switch hitter, power from both sides, been really consistent with the bat, hitting 500 with 5 home runs in the early going through the first 10 games. So obviously at pace, if he keeps this up, we're going to talk about him for the rest of the spring, but has looked better at third base, moving around better, throwing better, more accurately, just looks more under control. So he's really caught some scouts' eyes, including ours, in the early going. And it's no real surprise. It's just kind of that senior getting better and developing in a huge way.
Levi Huseman, we saw him strike out 18 in Jupiter. Kind of silly to do it on that stage. Talented left-hander, Coastal Carolina commit. What are you seeing of late with Levi Huseman?
Yeah, and this is a kid that we really liked. He was so good at National, 2 quick innings there, but then in Jupiter, he just kind of blew up, as you said, and we went to see a short outing that ended up being 4 innings, up to 95, kind of sat in that 1 to 3 touch 4 range. It's an absolute hammer breaking ball, swing and miss traits on everything. He goes up to down very well, and it's just a nightmare for opposing hitters. So he's been very impressive so far. It's just super stuff.
I'm out west. Come west with me. Tell us the very latest on Hamilton High School's Gavin Turley.
Gavin Turley has been fantastic so far. He's hitting right around 450, but he has 9 home runs. I mean, he was averaging more than a home run per game over the start of the season. He really hasn't stopped. The tools are huge. He's been absolutely fantastic.
Jackson Holiday, another one. He's moved inside the top 10 in the rankings. Talk about a mover. Obviously, he may go play for his uncle, but at a number 9 ranking, maybe you don't. The young man out of Stillwater High School, maybe you don't make it to play for Josh at Oklahoma State. Why has Jackson moved up so much?
And that's going to be an interesting follow with what you just said. Playing for his uncle and his dad. His dad obviously has a long history in MLB. There's going to be a lot of variables there when it comes down to really pinning down a number and seeing where this develops, but it's so interesting. I think he's gotten stronger. He was good. He had bat speed, but I don't think anything has been surprising to us outside of he's gotten stronger and he is performing. I think that's it, and he's always been a guy that we've always admired. We love the way he plays. Now add the 10 or 15 pounds and you've got a real prospect that should go in the middle of the front half of the draft.
Swing our car up north where they're just really starting a week or two into the high school baseball season. Noah Schultz is a Vanderbilt commit. He's moved himself into the number 1 left-handed pitcher in the country in the rankings.
Yeah, I think all of us liked him when he was like 90, 91. I mean, it was high spin rate on everything he did. No way you're hitting him when he's just in the zone, not even commanding the zone. It's just so tough for a high school hitter. And even if he goes, into college, I mean, he could have gone into college at 90, 91 and been fantastic. But first game out, he's throwing mid-90s, touching 97s, maybe grabbing a 98. Still the high spin. The control was there that day. It was a very short outing. He's not scheduled to go here for a couple more weeks, but that frame, the arm, the spin rates, the production, you just can't move past that.
He is from Illinois. Ike Irish is a PG All-American, Auburn commit catcher from Michigan. It's a power program, that Orchard Lane St. Mary's outside of Detroit. But Ike has jumped out to you this year.
I'm going to be very quick with Ike. 10 at-bats, 5 for 6, 5 home runs. Next guy.
All right, next guy. We love you, Ike. When you do it like that, a scout just keeps it simple.
Easy enough. 5 hits, 5 home runs. We're good.
I'm going to your neck of the woods down south. You may find a couple of Floridians for me. Talk to me about who's popping up down south for you.
Sal Stewart's really been a big name. A lot of for the same reason Tomey did. A little bit of an uneasy summer, but he controls his zone so well. He's really produced. He's hitting doubles at an alarming rate right now. At Westminster, and again, kind of found a home at third base. People are liking the actions. The arm strength's already been there. He's just moving around a little better. And again, could it be that he's hitting 470 plus with a 1500 OPS and doubles and home runs? Yeah, maybe, but let's call it what it is. We like hitters.
He's a Vanderbilt commit. Roman Anthony is an Ole Miss commit. His coach Todd Fitzgerald at Stoneman Douglas High School. What I love about him, I'm not like you. I don't see the game like you. But like 6'3", 6'4", with 6'4", 6'5", speed, kind of silly. How's he doing this spring?
He's casually hitting 525 in South Florida, playing one of the toughest schedules in the entire country. Now he's hitting home runs to all field. The weather's warming up. It's been fantastic to see him. Another guy that's over 1,500 OPS. He's got his 4 home runs. And he's going to be, 17-8 or something on draft day? He stayed the course, and over the last 3 weeks, Sut, he has gotten hot.
Dude, thanks for opening up your scout notebook for us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Sut. Thanks as always.
Jered Goodwin, Perfect Games National Scouting Director. When we come back, we're going to head out west to Long Beach, California. A conversation with the #1 player in the land in the 2024 class. What a unique talent Derek Curiel is, and we'll find out when we continue on Perfect Game Weekly. We're presented by Rawlings. Rolling on, Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rawlings. We were blessed recently, Perfect Game TV, to broadcast Orange Lutheran, #1 in the land, against St. John Bosco out in Long Beach, California. One big takeaway from that day was our conversation with the #1 player in the 2024 class, Derek Curiel. At one point, he's 16 now, but at 14, he was PG's 14U Player of the Year twice. He was a member of Perfect Games Select Festival, and last year, as an underclass All-American, he played up a year, receiving a 10 grade. You can't get any higher. And it seems like you can't do any better right now than Derek Curiel is doing. The class on and off the field. Here's our conversation.
So I'm never quite sure what the concept of being #1 means, right? But you are. So since I don't understand it and I never reached that plateau and it didn't exist when I was young, what does being #1 in your class in the whole United States mean to you?
It's a great privilege, honestly. I'm humbled by it. It's a great thing for my family and I, but honestly, it drives me to just keep being better every day, to stay #1, because, I mean, from there you can only stay there, and I just got to keep pushing myself so I could stay right there, and so other guys don't pass me up, because in the 2024 class, there's a lot of dudes that are working hard, and I just got to keep striving so I could stay at my peak and keep going forward.
So we've seen you for USA Prime Travel Ball, right?
Yes, sir.
This is different. This is Lutheran.
Yeah,
this is Orange Lutheran. Talk to me about, as a sophomore, the pride in wearing this good-looking uniform. You're part of a big game we're doing tonight, but tell me about the pride in wearing this uniform. By the way, there's some older guys that are really talented on your team. What does it mean to play for this team?
It means a lot. I love our coaching staff, Coach Borba, Coach RJ. I love playing for a Christian school, and I mean, we're nationally known, so it's great to play. And I got, Mikey Romero, Oliver Santos, Luis Rodriguez on my team. Great seniors that are MLB draft prospects potentially. And it's just great to learn from them and be able to share the field with them and learn from them. And it's just a lot of fun to be able to play for this great school, and academically and athletically.
What are you passionate about in the classroom? What do you love learning about? You're at a good school, by the way.
Yes, sir. I love my teacher, Mr. Lalier. He's our world history teacher. He makes it fun to go to class every day, so he's really made me love learning about history, and I just like going in his class. He's a sports guy, so we always talk, and he's a very good dude.
Mr. Lalier?
Mr. Lalier,
What
yes,
are you
sir.
making in that class right now?
Right now I have like an A-, so it's pretty good,
All
yeah.
right, he's trying. He's getting an A-. Make
Yeah.
sure he gets that A, Mr. Lalier.
Yes,
He
sir.
loves you. He cares about you.
Yes, sir.
But he better work. He better work to get that A-.
Yes, sir.
Your parents, Rick and Linda.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk first about Mom. Talk to me and help me understand how she's impacted your life.
My mom, she wakes up with me at 5 in the morning to take me to school,
God bless her.
to take me to my workouts at 6 a.m., pick me up from practice. I can't drive yet. Everywhere. She's with me all the time. And my dad, Rick, he works at Orange Lutheran for me to go to that school because the tuition's a little high. So if he works there, we get a little off. And my parents sacrificed so much for me to be here, and I think I put that on my shoulder to just play harder every day, play for them.
So keep your nose clean, stay out of trouble.
Yes,
Parents
sir.
are working on it. Hey, look, there's a lot of sacrifices. It seems like you're aware of the fact of the sacrifices to go into you being you, right? Whether
Yes,
it's
sir.
the extra hours, your dad working for the school. You're keenly aware of that?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I thank him every day because I know it's a struggle for my dad to be able to drive an hour to go to work and take me to practice and stuff like that. And I mean, it's cool to go to high school with my dad. We get to drive home. We talk after the games. He's always with me. He gets me better. He's my hitting coach. He's my everything coach. So it's cool to just learn from him all the time.
That's amazing. He had his moment. He and
Yes,
I are
sir.
both 87 SoCal guys. He got to play in Dodger Stadium for the big CIF championship.
Yes, sir.
What does he tell you?
He talks about it all the
Of course he
time.
does.
Yeah, he talks about it all the time. He hit 400 that season. He tells me that all the time. He's like, you got to hit 400. Last year I hit like 376, so I was close to the 400. And he was just making fun of me a little bit because he said that he hit 400 his senior year, and he got to play in Dodger Stadium. We went 2 for 3 with the walk, and he always reminds me of that too. And he said that's an unforgettable experience that he had at Bell High School.
Okay, so when you were a select festival athlete, here, where were you at height-wise? How much have you grown?
At the 13U one, I was probably like right here, and then 14U like right here, and now I'm about 6'2", so it's good.
What were those experiences like? I love being a part of them, to see you guys at a younger age. You're a big guy now, you're a high school
Yes,
player,
sir.
but at that 13 and 14U age group, what were those select festivals like?
So I was fortunate enough to be a part of the first 13U Select Festival in 2019 at Oklahoma Sooner Stadium, and that was a big blessing because I mean it was only for the 14U and then the PG All American games, and then they started doing the 13U, and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know what this is, and I did it, and I was like, I want to come here again. We got all the gear. I got to hang out with all my teammates, the best 32 guys in the country. It was just a lot of fun to get to know everyone around the country. And then now when we play in tournaments, like you're like, oh, I know you, and it's just really cool. It's a great experience to play there.
Thank you, pal.
Yes, sir.
Have fun.
Perfect, thank you.
Relationships form that will probably last a generation plus. We hear big leaguers a lot talk about their time back as a PG athlete and a PG All-American, remembering the men in the big leagues who they are playing against now when they were doing so wearing that PG hat. When we come back, a man who wore a PG hat and wore it very, very proudly, James Wood, a second-round pick of the San Diego Padres, who upon putting pen to paper and becoming a pro, exploded. It's year number 2 now, and Wood previews his season on Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rawlings. We welcome you back. This is Perfect Game Weekly. We're presented by Rawlings, in a conversation as promised with Padres prospect and Perfect Game All-American James Wood. James, thanks for spending time with us as you get ready to crank into a full minor league season. This has got to be a fun time for you.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for letting me join.
So the draft happens last year, the second round, the Padres pull you in, and you begin your career. You had an incredible first season. What were some of the small changes you made mechanically? Because you're 6'7", what were some of the small changes you made mechanically that allowed you to flourish?
I think I widened my stance a little bit starting like around last year in pro ball. I think it really just helped me get my legs a little bit more and find a little bit more balance.
And with your hands, did you make any moves with your hands to kind of open things up a little bit?
I kind of sort of got them a little bit more preset, but that was probably just about it. Maybe moved them up a little bit than how they were before.
So Arizona baseball, right? Minor league baseball. You're going to experience fan baseball this year. That was camp baseball. But when I look at the numbers, you had an incredible year. I mean, you got on base at a crazy high percentage. You just did amazing things. But for you, the opportunity to go almost to get your master's degree, it feels like, travel ball, there's a little bit of feeling on your own. At IMG, you had good instructors. But how much with the Padres and being daily, going to work in that camp baseball mentality, did you feel like you were just learning every single day?
Yeah, it's kind of like you said, like you go out there, play 5 or 6 games a week, and I truly believe that that's where you grow the most is playing games on the field. So I think just getting a lot of game reps in, that really just helped me improve a lot.
But were there moments, were there single games where you went to bed at night and said, I belong here. This was special?
I think the last week of the ACL season, I think like I was coming back. I got bruised on my hand, so I missed a few games there. So I came back and I was just feeling good. I was seeing the ball well and just felt like myself out there. And I think that was probably my best week of the whole season.
Yeah, by the way, you had 13 hits in your last 7 games. I'm glad you mentioned that. A little bit of research that I did. You also did something for a tall left-handed hitter that tall left-handed hitters aren't supposed to do. You had a 382 on base percentage against left-handed pitching. Why did that occur?
I think a lot of it was approach, just talking with my hitting coaches. I think we really came up with a good plan against lefties, which is something that I've struggled with before, and I think really the work paid off.
If I'm going to take you back and take you to a couple of high school showdowns, you hit an epic homer at the high school showdown. I'm going to take you to the All-American Classic in the middle of a pandemic, but yet I'm going to call them perfect game memories, right? Perfect game memories.
hmm
Do you have some good ones? Do you have a good memory of being part of the perfect game program?
I think probably just going out there first inning of the All-American game. I think it was a huge goal of mine going into that year, and it was something I was really proud of, a big accomplishment that I was really working towards.
Yeah, to me, you guys were a courageous class too. Was it nice to be with those players and really measure yourself?
Yeah, no, it's always fun playing against those guys too. Like especially like I know we play Harry Ford. Harry Ford's he was right across the street, the complex from us. So we would play him all the time. Him and Edwin, and we play all kinds of guys. So it was a lot of fun for sure.
My final question for you is how inspirational is it to see Mackenzie Gore move up the ranks, high school guy, draft, Luis Campusano, high school guy, draft, Robert Hassel, outfielder like you're on Robert's path, and then CJ Abrams goes to the big leagues. How inspirational is it to
hmm
see guys ahead of you, but that went down the same path on their way to the big leagues?
Yeah, no, it's really cool to see. And I always love learning from those guys, seeing how they work, and it's really cool seeing how their work pays off and how quickly they're moving up the ranks.
Right. We really appreciate your time, James. We really, really do. Best of luck in Lake Elsinore. Have an incredible season.
Thanks, Darren.
CJ Abrams is one of a handful that are on their way to the big leagues, as we talked about. When we come back, the dreams coming true of a half dozen PG alums going to the big leagues. This is Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rawlings. We welcome you back to Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rawlings. If you've paid close attention, the number one player in the 2024 class, a young man who was drafted in the second round last year, who is journeying quickly up the ladder for the San Diego Padres. It's all about finding your way to the big leagues, if in fact you're dreaming and you're working towards that goal. And I'm going to be selfish. This spring, the spring of 2022, has allowed a lot of us with Perfect Game to look back and celebrate, as the doors to the big leagues have been opened up to a handful of players that feel like they were just getting out of their mom's or their dad's cars at a Perfect Game event. Let's start with Hunter Greene. Hunter Greene taking the mound on April the 10th after coming back from Tommy John surgery, but he'll take the mound as a major leaguer against the Atlanta Braves. I remember when he was a Breakthrough Series athlete put on by Major League Baseball, learning his ways, a Breakthrough Series guy. I can remember, was he going to be a shortstop? Was he going to be a pitcher? Making that USA roster, becoming a Perfect Game All-American. Hunter Greene now consistently over 100 miles an hour. Bobby Witt Jr., a 2018 Perfect Game All-American, 19 the Royals grabbed him. He's going to be the opening day third baseman. For Bobby Witt Jr., I can remember him playing for the Royals scout team and having great conversations with players and wearing a microphone for us during an event. I can remember Bobby Witt Jr. not only playing for that Royals scout team, but also playing for the East Coast Sox, a faith-based team and an organization where he wore it proudly on his sleeves. Now Bobby Witt heading to the big leagues, as is Spencer Torkelson. As one of the voices of the Pac-12 network, I had the good fortune of calling a whole bunch of Spencer Torkelson's collegiate home runs. He had 54 in college. He was a Northern California guy who came through the PG world, went to the National Showcase, but really exploded, broke the freshman home run record set by Barry Bonds. Spencer Torkelson, 16 National Showcase, on his way to the big leagues. Perfect Games High School Showdown. Gosh, in 2018, 2019, I think it was, CJ Abrams walked in the outfield with us and committed to Alabama. He let us know, I'm going to Alabama. That's my school the very next year at the high school showdown. Playing, by the way, for Blessed Trinity, north of Atlanta, Georgia. He taught us how to hit. He showed us all of his secrets. CJ Abrams, it looks like in all likelihood, a big leaguer with the San Diego Padres. He played 2 great defensive positions in spring training. And then there's Mickey Moniak. I may be most excited about Mickey Moniak. He feels like a long time ago was a PG All-American, 2015. He had more than 2,000 minor league plate appearances. And when I go back to who he was as a San Diego native, his family hosted us as we announced the roster for the All-American Classic in 2015, the #1 overall pick in 2016, and then he had to go through it. Those plate appearances in the minor league didn't resemble that of a #1 overall pick, but they are now. And you love the stick-to-itiveness of a young man who feels like age-wise he probably would be a senior in college. That's just fine. Those 29 MLB at-bats that he has had kind of feel irrelevant. Mickey Moniak turning the page. We celebrate his amateur journey. We celebrate his minor league journey, going to the big leagues with a handful of guys. Certainly excited to be around all of their journeys now as they are major leaguers. What a show it was. We want to thank James Wood for joining us, explaining about his hopes of getting to the big leagues very, very soon, going road tripping with Jered, Goodwin, some of the best players in the country, our conversation with Derek Curiel. The future is bright when baseball is in a player like that and his hands. If in your hands you have a remote and you're watching us on your regional sports network, don't forget in your hands you can put your smart device and download perfectgame.tv. Go find the app, put it on any of your smart devices, and shows like this, live events, multiple others devoted to amateur diamond sports is found right here on Perfect Game TV. Until next week, my name is Darren Sutton. Dreams are coming true a lot, aren't they? This is Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rawlings.